I'm with Michael Baldinger, the Global Head of Sustainable Investment at UBS Asset Management. Michael, thanks for being with us. There's a lot of talk right now at these strange times of the pandemic of ESG being at a tipping point. But what does that mean in practice from your perspective?
Yeah, thanks, Daniel, for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I mean, when we talk about tipping point, I think we reached that 2 to 3 years ago. And I'm saying that, and also I'm always smiling and me being like, sustainability field for a while. We would never have imagined how important, how quickly it catches on, and we really got into mainstream ESG. I remember a couple of years ago, not that long ago, we will create YouTube videos. And I remember the title was Demystifying Sustainable Investing. So really dumb it down, explaining why it does not hurt performance, why it's not just about exclusion, constrained portfolio equals and bad performance. So that was something we were really proud, but that were the discussions with clients at that time, not that long ago. Today you sit across the table with the most sophisticated clients in the world around the globe, particularly Europe, Asia, but also United States. And it's really remarkable and amazing how they got up to speed and how they really transformed how they allocate the capital. And we did actually a survey with Responsible Investor. We conducted that with more than 600 of the largest asset owners in the world, representing over $20 trillion in assets. And even for us, it was really an eye-opener how many asset owners already do integrate ESG in their investment decisions when they allocate money. And the most remarkable finding was that environmental factors are really top of the mind. I mean, more than half of European asset owners, for example, stated that within the next 5 years, they would expect that environmental factors will be more significant in the investment decision than financial analysis as we have known it. So I think that is really very strong statements. And so with that, and to your question, Daniel, I think tipping point, we were there already 18 to 24 months, I would say. And this is even being now, I think, intensified and accelerated through the pandemic we have now. Because, if I look at it, many, maybe under-researched, topics came to the surface when it comes to the S, for example, which I think will gain in importance in the ESG environment. How many companies take care of the employees? How many companies were ready to have the majority of their population working remotely? Governance always, not just in companies, but also in governments. How many have been prepared for this pandemic? Not many have failed, but some have been really doing well to really accelerate through this. So I do think it really accelerates even more now, and the tipping point has been reached a couple of years ago already.
But this is we're in a short-term crisis. How do we start to think about the long term?
Yeah, I mean, look, the greatest learnings always come out of crises. I think we learned that in 2008 in the financial crisis, but also if you go back much longer than that. And I don't want to sound like the person like we told you so, but if you look at this infectious disease, which obviously created this dramatic crisis we have been in or still in, if you look at warnings from the World Economic Forum or other, scientists, they talked about those long-term risks, what it means and that we have to take it seriously. But as we all know, particularly governments, could say many or most of them are not prepared for something like that. I think they acted really fast in a good way. I think many governments really got their acts together then. But this is something where we really should take learnings out of it. Also, if you look at another pandemic coming our way or major crisis, I would say it's climate change. This is also a very long-term topic, but has to really be addressed now in the short term, and really prioritize, how many companies are resilient in an environment coming our way, and not just that we have to fix it then again and put trillions and trillions of dollars just on short-term fixes, which eventually we all have to pay back. The system has to pay back eventually. So I do think that is important also, just quickly, shorter and long term, if you look at performance, and I don't want to be the person now, taking conclusions too quickly in very volatile and dislocated markets, which we have been seeing. but there's clear evidence that better ESG companies have really been performing better. I mean, if you look even at the MSCI SRI Global versus the non-ESG indices, they have outperformed 10%, over the last 5 and 10 years. And even this year to date, they have been doing better. So this is part of what we do in sustainable investing, to make sure we create the transparency and be able to define what companies are ready for long-term success and make sure not, and they also do better on the short term. I think that's an important message learning out of this.
We're talking about messages. What's the message to clients in this environment?
Yeah, obviously right now it's always about capital preservation, right, in dislocated market. But what I would say is, and there will always be what's called black swans coming our way, the unexpected, right? And this time was the pandemic, next time might be something totally different, which we don't even know yet. But you have to make sure as a client that you work together with asset managers who really make sure your portfolios are as resilient as possible, for whatever black swan comes your way. And also that you have a good mix of companies who can take, accelerate, with those mega trends coming our ways, which we all know they are. And, so choose wisely. There needs to be an extra step, an extra way to make sure you have a better informed investment decision, not just financial analysis, but really do a good granular research approach when selecting, stocks and companies on behalf of your clients.
What, in your view, does the asset management industry take away from all this, and what does it look like in the future?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I know for certain how the asset management industry will look like going forward. I think much longer hair and more beards. I think that will be totally back in fashion when we all show up again one day in the office. I think, it's funny when we had all those video chats, Skype, in the beginning everyone was on video, and then the longer it took, the less people showed up on video. I thought it was hilarious. But I think that is definitely a new trend in asset management. But, but I do think, what we've seen the last 18 to 24 months, how really the largest asset owners allocate capital, and how they really have no tolerance anymore funding companies through the capital markets who really do damage to society and environment. I think there will be no tolerance anymore for that. And I think that has massive implications how we as asset manager also help our clients to make sure their portfolios investments are bulletproof and ready for the 21st century, and how asset owners look at that channel, how companies behave. So that is really something which we have been in UBS asset management really focused on, the interact with clients, how we talk to them, and also the offering we do when it comes to climate and other efforts. So that's really at the core of how we look at asset management in UBS. And that is something the industry is not quite there yet, I believe, to help our clients on that journey.
Good thoughts. Michael, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, and stay healthy. Thanks.